Hey guys, and welcome back to the United Star. And today we have Anshuman from the United Road, a channel that's growing within weeks. It recently touched its 1K subscriber mark, and I know you're doing a giveaway. I recently saw that. So guys, go check his channel out. Go subscribe to it. Go see how you can win a free jersey from United. And if you've come from his channel, do subscribe to us. But Anshuman, tell us how you started the United Road. What caused you to create a United fan channel? Just a bit of background about you and the channel as a whole.
So basically, I started the channel because of all the hatred, you know, which the players are getting basically from the so-called bigger channels. If you can understand, I don't want to name those channels. So it's basically the agenda and the hatred against a certain set of players. As we all know that each team have certain individuals in the way that they complete the team. It's not like everyone can be a superstar. They have their certain limitations. They have their certain roles. And if they are playing in that particular type, you just cannot come out and say that they are just a shit player. You have to come and all right. They do have their inefficiency in terms of how in terms of how good they play or how much their ability on the ball. You can talk about all that stuff. So basically, the reason behind my channel was to bring out the positivity. You can always have a fair criticism about every player, the manager, supporting staff, everyone. But when you just pick, just pinpoint a certain player, even though if he is doing well, you are still trying to find out the negativity in that player's performance. So my channel is all about the positive efforts that the team is trying to put and take United where they belong. Obviously, it's not a one-day task. It will take some time. You got to support them. Obviously, many people are like Ole in, many people are like Ole out. You all know that. So I just don't want this to be agenda driven. Fair criticism, that's the way to go. You
Yep.
know,
I
and
think
that's the reason I started with this channel where you can, fans can come, they can talk about it. They don't have to be rude or they don't have to shout and just to call out the player. Obviously, it's a team sport. If they win as a team. If they lose, obviously, certain star performance will remain there. The managers, their tactics, everything will be there. But you don't have to be very aggressive or in terms of just keep crying the same thing, even if the player is playing good. So my channel will be all about fair criticism about the players who are doing good, who can get better. So
I
that's
think
the
it's
basic thing.
fair. A lot of channels, as you mentioned, including ours, we talk about the players, we talk about their performances, and at times it is slightly negative. At times it is overly positive. Whether that's Pogba, Dan James, various players that we can talk about, and it's great to have a channel that allows you to express your opinion, but at the same time keeps a positive environment around you. There is no negativity towards the team, and that's great. So moving on to the Premier League began. We saw a very dominant 5-1 performance. Before we get into our next game, what did you take from that game? I mean, you obviously went down and did a match vlog and experienced with fans. So obviously, Old Trafford would have been a different vibe. I was in Chicago with fans. I experienced it. You experienced it. How was that game for you? Did you see something that has changed under Ole? Has this become more of an attacking team? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely it's more of an attacking team. People think that McFred plays just because Ole favors them. And it's not the case. Yeah, sometimes he has been defensive, sometimes he has been negative, but that comes with the centre back pairing. You don't have pacey centre backs. Now that Varane is, you know, with us, he will be joining for the next game or a week after. But now that he is back, and people forget that we don't have a CDM. These two guys, they have limited abilities and they do their best what they can do with the team. So I do feel with Pogba in a free role, we will see more of attacking threat from him and as well as Bruno, because as we saw in the last game, he was given a false nine role. He and Pogba, the link up was absolutely brilliant. The front three were combining absolutely lethal ways. And in the next game, Sancho will be there. Most probably he will be starting. So Overall gameplay of the team is certainly better than what it was in the last few games of the season.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with few names, getting back to fitness, Tony getting back to fitness, and Martial getting back to fitness in the next few games, it is definitely looking a good picture for the United fans.
Yeah, yeah. You've led it into the next segment, and we can straight go into it, which is the Southampton preview. When we look at the Southampton game and how things are going to unfold, you mentioned two names, and I'll first ask you about those two names and how big an impact are they going to have on the squad before we do our predicted 11s. Sancho and Varane. Obviously, in the game against Burnley, behind closed doors, Varane didn't play, but Sancho played on the left. Do you see Varane making it to the bench? Maybe after Lindelof's performance against Leeds, Lindelof still keeps his place. And same goes for Sancho. Do you see him playing on the right, or do you see Mason Greenwood play on the right and Sancho sticking on the left till Rashford comes back?
Before coming to this podcast, even I was having my own with two of my friends, and we were simply talking about this thing only. The thing is, I do see Varane starting. The two reasons being they have two attacking players who can hold the ball very well and who are very good with their physicality, whether it's Armstrong or whether it's Che Adams. So that can prompt Ole to start with Varane. Or since Lindelof had a great game last time around against Leeds, he might just stick with him. I do see Sancho starting. There's absolutely no doubt, and makes no sense if he doesn't start with Donny. So for me, Donny, Varane, and Sancho. I see these three guys who might start, but as I mentioned, that Donny hasn't been fully fit yet. He is not has his fair share of games recently, so it's a 50-50 for him. Apart from that, Sancho is 100% go. Like if it
So
doesn't start now,
based,
when will
based
he
on
start?
what you're saying, what's the 11 that you think United will put front? Not the one that you want, but like a predicted 11 that you believe.
Predicted 11, in my opinion, will be the same like the last game. The only change that I see happening is Sancho for James, straight swap. Apart from that, it's going to be the same team. I feel Ole will definitely give Lindelof another chance because end of the day, it's the Varane Maguire combo who's going to play for us. But since Lindelof had a good last game and Varane had simply come back to training after all the isolation and everything, so he won't be risked. He won't be, just put into the team.
Yeah.
So I just see one change. If I had to make, I would have made three. But if you are talking about the United changes, I feel not more than one.
So when we're changing Dan James for Sancho, we're still playing the two pivot. Do you think against Southampton we need Fred and McTominay as a double pivot in front of our defense, or do you see a more dynamic role that McTominay played against Leeds coming out in this game as well?
If I have to put, I will put up a very attacking side, as I also mentioned about Donny, that he is one guy who can give even more freedom to the likes of Pogba. His own creativity is there. Bruno is there. Sancho and Greenwood. So they will be like creating mayhem on the field for Southampton. But as you said, as I said, sorry, about the match fitness, which Donny is lacking. Martial is lacking as well. So although all the United fans want to see a more attacking side, we are just a bit restricted in terms of fitness. So I don't see it happening. I will say that it's the same team with just Sancho for James.
So I think I agree with you. I think we all after the game against Leeds did not like the way James played. I think he's a good player. He's just not Manchester United caliber at the moment. Still needs time to develop. And Sancho can come in and do his street football and get Southampton defenders confused and help Mason Greenwood and Paul Pogba if need be. But talking about United, do you see a rejuvenated Paul Pogba? Do you think Paul Pogba is going to be the key in this game as well? Or if not, who's the key player for Manchester United for you?
Pogba is the key player for every game. He has that sort of a charisma and character. It's like a love-hate relationship with that player. I am not a very big fan because the antics that always revolves around him. So if you see Pogba in that context, obviously, but when you see that performance, 4 assists, just balls after balls after balls, it was just like, it's a machine playing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I,
he can bring that sort of a performance, and we expect that after paying that sort of a money for a midfielder. So he will be key in every game, and with Varane coming back in the next few weeks, or even in the next few in the next game, he will have his freedom. He will have like two guys defending him, shielding him. And I do feel that in the run of the 5-6 games before the top team comes, it's his chance to build the fitness, it's his chance to build his confidence. And then against bigger teams, then he's, you know, in terms of what he can do will be judged. As of now, he will be like one of our most key players, like the top 3-4 players, which we have to look after, keep him fit for the entire season. And you never know,
yeah.
21 by the end of 22.
I agree. I agree. I mean, personally, I believe the Leeds game was his best game after the Manchester City 3-2 victory that we had, where we came back and we won that game.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think that was more of a Paul Pogba that we've seen play for France, way more attacking. He had that free role. He was putting in the balls. Bruno and Pogba connection is very clear. So I definitely agree. I somewhere think our key man will be Greenwood. I can see him develop in ways off the ball and on the ball. For example, when Bruno scored the first goal, moving from center striker to right wing to create that space for Bruno or making the run for his own goal. I think he's developing into more of a player who's not just two-footed and takes that shot, but who creates things off the ball as well. So I think Greenwood will be a key player. But it's good. It's
That's
great
what,
to have.
yeah, yeah.
It's sorry,
Sorry to interrupt you. That's what happens when you are training on a day-to-day basis with one of the best strikers the world has ever seen, Edinson Cavani. So
Hmm.
when you have a presence like him, you can get whatever you want from that sort of a guy, in terms of experience, in terms of handling the ball, his movement. Even if you notice in the first game, his hold-up play, you know, more than his movements, his hold-up play, which was, impressive. And
Yeah,
that's the one thing which we literally wanted to see from Greenwood, because we all know he can dribble. We all know he can shoot from both feet. But
yeah.
if he can start to just hold the ball like he did, he is in for a long run regardless of that. But if he can add that dimension, United is blessed to have a player like that.
Yeah. And we haven't even spoken about Cavani, about Rashford. So it just shows, that bench is building that we never trusted. Like we saw in Europa League final where we didn't make any substitutes. We can see a bench being formed that is very strong, and this side can go a long way. But shifting focus to Southampton, Anshuman, what do you see their threats being? When we talk about Southampton, we think about a side that can get relegated this season. How do you believe they are a relegation side? Do you believe it'll be an easy game? Last time we played them, everyone remembers the 9-0 at home. It's not at home, it's an away fixture. What do you think is Southampton's threat in this game against us?
To be very honest, Southampton will always be a threat under Hasenhüttl, because that guy knows just one way to play, and that's to attack. So when a team is on the attack, obviously we will have our chances. We will have more than fair share of our chances. But they do have the front foot in terms of Ward-Prowse, G. Adams, Armstrong, and Walcott. They will keep on creating the trouble for us. If Lindelof is starting, we will have more than troubles in terms of physicality, because we have seen Lindelof struggling with that. So J. Adams and the likes of Armstrong can cause us troubles. As I mentioned, Ward-Prowse, that's the guy. That's the guy for me. The main threat. One set piece here and there, and he will just put the ball in your net. So he is capable of creating chances from out of nowhere.
Yep.
So this team has lost Danny Ings. They have lost Westergaard. They have not yet, taken care of the transfer business. But as you asked that whether you see him getting relegated, I just see, because of the experience they have got in terms of how they have been in the Premier League, they just might survive. But definitely, I don't see them coming anywhere more above like 13 or 14th place.
Yeah,
They are in.
I think I agree with you, but this game will actually earn Eric Ramsey all his money, set piece coach, because I remember last season, all they did was in the corners push everyone on David De Gea and put the ball in because David De Gea doesn't come to collect it. And our players will have to be careful of not giving away free kicks close to the box because, as you said, Ward Prowse is a free kick taker who can score from anywhere and at any angle. But talking about how we see the game panning out on Shuman, what are your predictions for this game?
Usually, to be very honest, I don't make predictions on United games. It usually backfires and backfires very badly. But I do see us getting a win. I won't say comfortable. I don't use that word because in Premier League, no game is comfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether it's Southampton or whether it's Sheffield or whether it's Brentford, whoever is Premier League team, they are capable of making upset. So we just have to keep our feet grounded after the 5-1 win and just go for the win. If we are playing to our even 80% of our potential, we are hammering them.
Yeah.
But we have to make sure that we are not just going onto the field and just roam around like we did last season in certain games.
I agree. But another fact that, like, as a United fan base, we all should remember we're still continuing that away unbeaten streak where we haven't lost since, the Liverpool game under Jose Mourinho. I don't remember when, but it's roughly 27, 28 games. So hopefully
it was we lost.
It was against Liverpool, right? Against Jose Mourinho. Yeah.
No, with Ole we lost.
With Ole. But yeah, it's an unbeaten run. Hopefully we continue it this season as well. It is what champions do. But Anshuman, last thing before we end it, confident we're title challengers this season?
To be very honest, no.
No. Okay.
I still don't feel that we are title challengers. We have improved.
Yeah.
And if we have to push for a title challenge, we need all our playing 11 fit for the entire season, which we have struggled with. Keeping the likes of Pogba, Martial. So if we have all the players fit, we can definitely make a push. But one or two injuries, and that will simply derail us again. So we have to keep an eye on that front. And I still think that in terms of a backup right back, we are lacking a certain player. And obviously, we don't have a CDM.
Yeah.
So we are like bits and pieces over there. And it's very, very hard in terms of today's football to win anything without a CDM because that's the guy who's going to pick the play for you. And even if you have to utilize the full potential of this team, we need a CDM because with McFred, obviously you are getting more defensive shield, but you have to take out one of your attacking players.
Yeah.
So if we get a CDM, like just get a Neves or a Kamavinga, for example, it will like Pogba and that guy, Bruno. Then we will have Rashford and Sancho, and then we can go with Cavani or Greenwood, Martial. We will have like loads of options. Like getting one guy basically unleashes our entire team. It makes us so much better. So I don't think we are title challengers yet. I will be very honest. We will be eyeing a top 2 spot definitely. We might push City, but if we can win, then obviously it's gonna be a huge thing. Even if we are keeping it close in the going, like a month or two, it will cause panic to the other team. But yeah, just for now, because the season has just started.
We have the last piece of the puzzle to be
exactly to be solved.
Hopefully we still have 10-12 days to get a signing in, and that last piece comes, and maybe then your opinion changes. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. But
fingers crossed. Definitely need a season.
Because you've heard what we had to say about the Southampton game. If we're 80% what our team can perform, it should be a good game for us, and we should continue our winning run for the season in game week 2. But do check out Anshuman's channel, The United Road. The link's in the description below. Do like, share, and subscribe to our own channel if you've been here. Let us know what you think how the game's going to pan out, who's going to score, who's the main man. But until next time, bye-bye.